So our basketball team, I played 8th grade basketball, and I was probably a 5'1" white dude. So I had NBA written all over me back in the day, right? And my dad wanted me to get ready for the season. My dad liked to drink back in the day. Big time drinker. He's been sober a long time now, but my dad could drink. So my dad said, hey, 8th grade's coming up. You're playing some basketball because you sucked at football. We don't know where this baseball thing's going. You're playing basketball. I'm like, Dad, I'm not sure genetically, DNA-wise, I'm completely qualified to play basketball long term, but we'll do it. So my dad set a hoop up in the backyard. Except when he set the hoop up, and I practiced every day, I'm telling you, every day the summer going into 8th grade, except my dad had some drinks, like a lot of drinks the day that he set the hoop up. And he set it up a foot short, except I never knew that. So I just kept practicing and practicing and practicing on a hoop that was a foot lower than it was supposed to be. So I got a shot you can't even believe from like 9.5-foot hoops, right? So basketball starts, tryouts, only 8 guys try out, so I make the team. But I'm the 8th player. I'm 8. By like 80 spots, I'm 8th, right? If we could have had the ladies play on the team, I'd have not made the team. So long story short, I don't play the first 6 games. I averaged for the season 0 points and 0 rebounds. Let me explain to you why I averaged 0. I did not score a basket the entire season in 8th grade. We're in the championship game against Lorbeer High School. Strep throat runs through our team. That night, I'm so excited because I get to go to my first baseball camp where there's going to be my mom and dad scrimped and saved, and we're going to send me to a baseball camp. First baseball camp in my life. That was my love. That was my sport. And my dad had saved, so all I wanted to do was go to baseball camp. And I went to school that day because I knew if I didn't go to school, my dad wouldn't let me go to baseball camp. And I also that day, I was so excited about it. I'm embarrassed to tell you this, but I was worried about playing baseball. Don't worry about this image. But I was worried that I didn't know how to put my jock strap on correctly. So I went to school that day because baseball camp, my dad wasn't going to make it home from work. So I had my dad show me how to put the jock. So I have no underwear on. I'm wearing a literal jock strap like our chaps with your butt cheeks hanging out the back. If you ladies don't know what I'm talking about, okay? So it's like not a pretty thing. I wore that under my school clothes that day because of the baseball camp. Anyway, 6th period comes along, it's PE. I don't go to PE because I got strep throat. And my dad calls the school, he says, hey, your mom's telling me you're skipping a basketball game. It's the championship. I'm like, well, Dad, I got strep throat. He goes, you don't get to go to baseball camp. You don't go to the damn finals of the basketball game. The best ability is availability. Can you picture my dad, right? I go, okay, Dad, I'll go. The other 2 guys who are on the team don't go because they got strep. So now there's 5 dudes on the team. Guess who has to play in the championship game? Big guy right here. I put my sweats on. We drive to Lorbeer High School. Packed house. Our school, their school, cheerleaders, the band. I haven't scored all year. I never even really play. Everybody takes off their jumpsuits. I take off my jumpsuit, run out, get into the layup line. I'm in the layup line. It's a little chilly, but I'm still in the layup line. I run in the layup line. I run through, I get my first pass. Boom, brick the first layup. I'm running by, I'm hearing everybody laughing. And then my guys are like, oh my God, Eddie! And I'm like, what's up? And I look down and I have my shirt on my children, my shirt on and my jock strap and tennis shoes and socks. That's what I'm wearing. In the layup line. Dead true story. Picture that. Shoes, socks, jock strap, tank top. Brick the first layup. And everyone's like, what? And I can hear the whole, whoa! Everyone's, look at this guy, oh my God! And so I literally, Coach Lindsay, Ed Lindsay, get over here, and we run. And the whole team makes a circle around me. They're like, find him some shorts. Who's got some shorts? They find some shorts in the bag, and I put the damn shorts on. Can you imagine the terror of a little boy? The whole school saw it. The whole Chaparral Cougar school saw my ass in a jock strap. So I went the whole game, scored 0 points. I got fouled with 2 seconds left in the game. We're down by 1. I got 2 free throws. I can't get my damn mind off the jockstrap horror film that took place about an hour ago. So on top of the jockstrap, I airball the first free throw, and I brick the second one, and we lose the junior high championship on top of it. It was a bad day, man. It was a bad day, right? It's like something you would dream about that would literally actually never happen. To this day, you guys, I have nightmares when I'm at the gym. I always check. I always look down. I swear to you. Middle of workouts, I'm like, okay, all right, got it. I'm always afraid. Why do I tell you that story? Because I'm about to tell you something that's going to change your life. That night, I went to baseball camp. The worst day of my life became one of the best days of my life. People ask me all the time, how do you think you became sort of a relatively confident guy with this great upbringing you had? Because I had a strong dad. And every time in my life that's come along, when there's a mentor that showed up, someone better than me that's ahead, God put him in my life and I took advantage of it. Whether that was Rich Thawley or Tony Robbins or various other people in my life. And this one man altered the direction of my life. I'm going to tell you about it. I went to baseball camp that night. night. And it was called Angel Country Baseball Camp. And I used to bat like this, with the bat really flat, like this, kind of just like this. Pitch would come in, boom, the bat was flat. And the reason I did that is my hero for the Angels is a guy named Rod Carew. How many of you know who Rod Carew is? You'll know in a minute if you don't. Rod Carew is a Hall of Fame baseball player. Played the wrong video. Hall of Fame baseball player, one of the greatest hitters of all time. And I'm in the cage, I'm hitting like this, and behind me, I hear a man say, "Who's the little lefty? Who's the little lefty?" And they go, "Oh, that's little Eddie." And I hear him talking, and I hit another one, line drive up the middle. Line drive up the middle. Now, all I'm thinking about is what had happened to me that day. I'm still wearing the same jock strap, by the way. Okay? Line drive up the middle. Just one of those dream moments, right? And the guy goes, "I like this kid's swing." And I look and they turn into the batting cage, and guess who's standing there? Rod Carew, number 29. And he goes, "Hey, kid, where'd you learn to hit like that?" I said, "Oh, my God." I said, "I learned by watching you." He goes, "Let's hit a few more." And he stood, the great Rod Carew, stood right there. He goes, "Let's hit a few more." He goes, "I like your swing." He goes, "Flatten the bat out a little bit. Spread your right foot out. Open your toe." I'm going, "That's Rod Carew." And he goes, "You're good. You're really good. I think you could be a great player someday." And he didn't stop at that. He said, "In fact, would you like me to work with you?" I went, "Yes." He goes, "Well, here's what I do. When I'm in town on Tuesday nights, they come over to my cages and I work with about 5-6 guys just like you. I'd love to work with you. Can you be there next Tuesday?" Yes, sir. I could be there. And for the next 5 years of my life, my baseball mentor, my life mentor became Rod Carew. And I'd sit in the batting cage with Rod. I'd sit in the cage with Rod, and he'd tell me exactly what to do. But on that, he goes, "You're out working everybody, buddy. You're going to do something great someday. With your work ethic, you're going to do something great. You're going to be a great college player." Every Tuesday he was in town, every Tuesday for years. And this man took this shy boy who had just had that experience in baseball over the next 5 years, constantly loved on me, constantly told me how great I was, constantly told me he believed it. And because of what a powerful example he was, when you have one of the 5 greatest hitters in the history of baseball tell you you're great, you believe it. And he didn't just make it about baseball, he made it about life and what a good boy I was, and now I got good grades and I treated my parents well. And when I found out about Rod, is he's one of these special souls that I was one of thousands and thousands of children that he took an interest in, which is why when I graduated college, my first job was at a group home working with kids. I wanted to be just like Rod when my baseball career ended. He poured belief into me, confidence. I started to walk different, think different. I thought I was special. The power of mentors in your life who love you and believe in you. And Rod did this over and over and over again. And then many years after I knew Rod, I'm going to Elmo, his little daughter. This is how you sow seeds in your life. See, all these calls you're making, all the phone calls, all the contacts, they don't feel like it's paying off right now, but you're planting seeds like in the parable of the sower. The wind's going to get a few, the rain's going to get a few, the birds are going to get a few, but eventually there's a harvest in a way that you can't even imagine. And Rod, for years, in addition to being this great player, was a better man, and he sowed seeds into kids over and over and over. A wonderful soul. He's from Panama. He wasn't even born here. He's a beautiful man. And then many years after I knew them, his little girl, Michelle, I became very close with. Michelle was a little 5-year-old little girl that used to sit behind the cage with her mama and watch us every week. And when Michelle turned 16, she got leukemia. And she lost her battle with leukemia when she was 16. At the time, it was a national story. This is April 18th, 1996. You're about to get blown away. April 18th, 1996, my great mentor, the man who believed in me, that changed, how's a little dude like me end up playing baseball at that level? Because of that belief. How did I do well in business? Because right after Rod Carew came Rich Thawley and Tony Robbins, these people who believed in me. And so it says, Michelle Carew, the daughter of Baseball Hall of Famer Rod Carew, who waged a 7-year battle with leukemia that sparked international outpouring of support and a surge in pool, listen, of potential donors, died Wednesday morning. She was 18. Their family was destroyed. I want you to watch Rod's quote when it happened. This is 1996. I can't make this up. Although we have lost Michelle, we can take solace in the fact because of her, many lives have already been saved by the increase in marrow transplants performed in the week subsequent to our appeal because of donors. The usually taciturn Carew had pleaded for people across the country, this is in 1996, to sign up as potential donors. Donors. Remember that word. Donors. When his daughter passes away, he turned it into a victory. Worst day of his life became the best day of his life. Donors. Sowing seeds. Doesn't know when you're going to harvest it. He has He saw how few African Americans and other minorities were registered for the National Donor Program. Within a few weeks, he began a public awareness campaign after her death. More than 70,000 calls for donors were generated. 2 million increase in donors were made across the country. That's absolutely awesome, said Carew. It's the initiative we've been waiting for. And then it shows you that the hospital's personnel sobbed and exchanged hugs during the news conference. He took the news conference of her death and turned it into a donor drive. After that, he started a foundation called the 29 Foundation after his baseball number.
Do my job and handle my business. But I got that from back when I was staying out late at night. My ability to talk to large groups of people who I do not know come from me having to get out of so many lies I had got myself into that I became comfortable doing that business. So coming out here telling the truth, pretty easy. The fact that I could fight you at the drop of a dime back then comes in handy because now I'm a Christian, but there's limits to it. So I don't, look, it's only so much I can take. Then after that, you're going to get off of me. It comes in handy because I'm busy. I don't have time for everybody. People stop me all the time. Steve, I need a picture. I need an autograph. I'm going somewhere. All I want is a picture. I can't stop every time somebody want a picture. How would you like if everywhere you went, somebody stopped you and wanted a picture? How many picture requests I get a day? I can't think of a day somebody ain't asked me for a picture, asked me for something. How would you like it if you was just going somewhere and here comes, and now y'all got video cameras. Y'all just pull them out and here they go. Somebody films me every day, and I'm not even aware. I just look over there, and my boy go, man, step behind me. She over there filming. I get that every day. How would you like that? So, being a former fighter, I was in the store the other day. Probably, let me see if I can tell this. Okay, I got off the plane. I came to Dallas yesterday. I get up and I'm in a stop in a store. We come from the airport. I got to get some water. I go in the store. This brother come up to me. He ain't got hardly all his teeth. He come up to me. He little muscular dude. He come up, Steve Harvey, what's up? So I say, hey man, how you doing? You ain't got no bodyguard? I'm 6'2", I weigh 235. Now I ain't no bad man, but I used to box. So now, you ain't got all your teeth, so you ain't real healthy. You have a little alcoholic aroma to you. I don't drink, so I figure we good. However this gonna be good. But it's because of what I was that God has changed. Now, it used to be, I just turn around, start swinging, it'd be on and cracking. But now God changed that. But see, what it caused me to realize was I was who I was, but I am who I am, and I'm cool with both of them.
So you've got to be willing to stay focused, to be creative, to be relentless, because things are going to happen to you when you're working on your dream, when you get on track. I remember when I first got involved in speaking, one of the main things that speakers like to do is speak to a certain association that they have over 10,000 of their sales reps that come to this convention. And I was relentless. I kept saying, it's possible. It's possible. See, what I wanted to let you know and set you up for, because you said it's possible, don't mean that you're not going to have any problems. That Murphy's Law ain't gonna come and slap you side the head. Oh, Murphy gonna come visit you. He's waiting for some of y'all out in the parking lot. Oh, you say it's possible. Okay, it's possible. You better get up. Well, I was working. I kept saying it's possible. They got other speakers on this program. I can be on that program too. I kept selling myself. I got all fired up. And I was calling them every day. And the lady finally said, Mr. Brown, I tell you what, we want you to come in and talk to our sales executives. You got the kind of fire and guts that they want that will motivate them. And let me tell you something else. We want you to bring your motivational tape. You're going to need at least $50,000 worth of tapes. I said, is that right? Yes, because they want to keep that drive alive. I said, all right. I called the guy to duplicate my tapes. I said, Don, how you doing? This is Les. Let me tell you, I got a major speaking engagement. I said, man, it's a speaker's dream. I need over $50,000 worth of product. He said, Les, you don't have that kind of credit. I said, I know, but Don, I can sell that. Just right after speaking engagement, I'll give you your money in 4 days. He said, are you sure, Les? I said, yes, man, I got a major speaking engagement, and they told me to do it. He said, man, that's a big order. Let me talk with the lady with you. I said, hold on just a minute, man. Call the lady back. Hello, Evelyn, how you doing? This is Les Brown. I got Don on the phone. What did you say? Do I have the speaking engagement? Yes, you do. And what else you suggest? Les, our people, they buy a lot of tapes. Your tapes are very popular among them. I'm saying bring at least $50,000 worth of tapes, Les. You'll sell everything you got and more. I said, did you hear that, Don? He said, yes. I said, now, if anybody else has to make a decision, are you the final person? She said, I'm the final person. I will send you the contract. I want you. I said, you hear that, Don? He said, yes. I said, oh, ye of little faith. I said, duplicate the tapes, man. Hunk the phone up. Well, he duplicated the tapes. 1 week came by. I'm checking the mail every day. No contract. I said, come on, Murphy, don't start nothing. Come on, man, give me a break. Come on, you know, stay fair. Come on, man. Give your boy a break. Come on. I talked to myself, you know. I didn't want to call him right then. 2 weeks passed by. Murphy said, don't you think you ought to call him? I said, okay. I called. I said, hello, this is Les Brown calling. How you doing, Les? I said, fine. I said, Evelyn hasn't sent my contract out yet. Any additional information you need? So, Les, you haven't heard? I said, no. I said, Evelyn died. I said, she died? I said, did she say anything about me? When I got home, I was so wiped out. And Murphy was in the house waiting on me. Murphy said, is it possible you want to listen to some of your tapes?
The spiritual part. I'm an amateur on the spiritual side. I do happen to believe that human beings are more than just an advanced life form, an advanced species of the animal kingdom. I do believe humans are a special creation. That's just my personal belief, and I don't ask you to buy it. But here's what I do ask you to buy. If you do believe in spirituality in any manner, here's my best advice. Study it and practice it. Do not neglect your values. Do not neglect your virtue. If you do believe in spirituality, my advice is study it and practice it. Don't let it go unstudied. Don't let it go unnourished. If you do believe, that's my best advice on the spiritual. Now here's the third part, the mental side. Part of this personal development challenge is to develop mentally. Learn, study, grow, change. It's what schooling is all about. And the human development takes time, incredible amounts of time. That's why we've taken the time for this seminar. It just takes time. Some things you can't cover in a 20-minute speech. You can't cover in a little 5-minute talk. It takes time. For humans, it seem like more time than any other life form, human being. The little wildebeest in Africa. Guess how much time it's got as soon as it's born to be able to run with the pack so it doesn't get eaten by the lions? Guess how much time it's got? A few minutes. As soon as the little wildebeest is born, tries to stand up, falls down. Its mother nudges it, gets stand back up, falls back down. Finally, on little shaky legs, it tries to nurse. Mother pushes it away. She moves away, so it can't nurse. Why? You can't nurse now. You got to develop some strength now. The lions. Falls down, gets back up, tries to nurse. Mother pushes it away. No, you got to get these legs strong. How much time have we got? Not much time. Mama wildebeest says, not much time. Not hours, not days, minutes. Wow. But the human baby, wow. After 16 years, we're not sure. Unbelievable amount of time it takes. So it does take time for personal development. It does take time for spiritual development, physical development. But here's also what takes time, and that's your mental development. Feeding the mind, nourishing the mind. Some people read so little, they got rickets of the mind. They couldn't give you a good, strong argument as to their own personal belief. Here's one of the challenges we've got as parents, and that is to get our kids ready to debate the major life issues of the 90s. They've got to get ready to debate. We've spent this last couple of decades debating communism. Communism taught capital belongs in the hands of the state. We've been teaching, no, capital belongs in the hands of the people. Communism taught people are too dumb and stupid to know what to do with capital. You've got to take capital away from all the dumb, stupid people and give it to the all-knowing, all-wise state. And let the state run everything and let the people meekly show up for their work assignment. All glory to the state, communism taught. Kid says, well, is that right? No, all glory to the people. Let the state be the servant of the people, not the people be the servant. Hey. I'm telling you, you got to be able to pick up those ideologies. You got to be able to pick up the philosophy. And here's the next part. You got to be able to defend it. If you can't defend your virtues and if you can't defend your values, I'm telling you, even in the 90s, you'll fall prey to philosophies that are not in your best interest. And we've got to help our teenagers. We've got to help our kids especially to be able to debate the major life issues, the political issues and the social issues and the religious issues and the spiritual issues and the nutritional issues and the economic issues and all of the rest of the issues that are valuable for us to build the kind of equities we want. You got to get yourself ready. Everything in life is a lot like that. Emotions are a good example. Either you master them, or they will master you. Something is always going to master, and something is always going to serve, whether it's your emotions, your enterprise, or your project. Difficulty will serve or master. Fear, anxiety, inclinations, they all serve or master. We must learn to send our inclinations to school, to teach them how to behave, how best to serve, and to learn their true value. So that is key one. Get in charge. You be the master. It pays to take a look often and examine all the parts of your life and all the things that you are involved in and all the things that are affecting you so that you can get an intelligent answer to the question, who's in charge here? It's so easy when you get something started to unwittingly relinquish the reins of authority so that it begins to subtly but surely take over. Soon you become the servant. It dictates, it demands, and you respond. So let's turn this whole challenge around. You take over the reins of authority. You subtly but surely take charge. You dictate, you demand, and you will be delighted to see early signs of positive response from your enterprise, your business, and your life. The next time management essential is to learn to say no. I had some difficulty here. It is so easy to say yes to everything, trying to be a nice person, and then have to spend all that time trying to come up with excuses to get out of the obligation. It's one of the great time wasters. How much better to say, no, I don't think I can, but if that changes, I'll give you a call. And isn't it a better feeling to call someone with the good news, I can come, than with the bad news, guess what, I can't come. When in doubt, learn to say no. A friend of mine, Ron Reynolds, has a good saying, don't let your mouth overload your back. That's a great thought to keep in mind when scheduling your time. Here's the next tip. When you work, work, and when you play, play. For time efficiency and for that good feeling that comes from doing something without any guilt feeling. Don't mix the two. Many years ago, I used to say, I've got to get my family to the beach. I've been promising to take them to the beach. What are they going to think if I don't take them? Now guess where I am while I'm thinking about the beach? Right, at the office. Now I finally get my family to the beach, but at the beach I'm saying, I should be at the office. I have so much to do. Now I've messed up my beach time with the family by thinking about the office. So I learned this lesson. Make a play day, and a work day, a work day. Don't mix the two. Sure enough, if you say I'm going to take off at 3 o'clock and go play, guess what you are thinking about all morning? Taking off to go play. So don't play at work and don't work at play. It's a great rule to follow to ensure that your time is used more effectively. Now I know all of this has to be modified to fit your particular situation. No one rule will apply to all, but keep the main thought in mind. Separate work and play. When I take a lecture tour to Spain or Africa or Australia, I make it a work trip. Every day is filled with lectures, speeches, and business conferences. Then I arrange a play trip because when I play, I really want to play. A builder friend of mine now has the luxury of working a week and taking off a week. That's what he calls it. Work a week, play a week. However, with weekends on either side of his play week, it's really 9 days. So he works 5 and takes off 9. That is luxury, right? However, the 5 days he worked, he really worked. Secretaries, accountants, architects, superintendents, long days, around the clock, into the night, 5 heavy, full days. Then he's off to play. So when he worked, he really worked so that he can save all the playtime for a longer stretch. Now perhaps we can't all do that, but we can learn to practice the skill of separating work and play.
Repeat after me, please. It's possible. Yeah, see, the easiest thing that I do now is come up on stage and speak. That's easy. But the most difficult thing that I've ever done, and it took me years to do, was to believe that I could do it. To believe that I could stand up and not be afraid and speak from my heart and think and be able to present. To believe that that was possible for me. For 14 years, I didn't do it. Mike Williams said, Les, you can do more than what you're now doing. But I didn't believe it. I just couldn't see myself doing it. I'm saying to you, there's some things that you can accomplish that you can't see right now. My favorite book says, eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for you when you're willing to say yes, when you're willing to move forward, when you're willing to come back again and again and again in pursuit of your dream. Life will respond to you. You'll discover some things about yourself. Mindset transformation is very important. Be ye not conformed to this world, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You don't want to think like everybody else. You want uncommon thinking. Here's the other thing. Expand your skill set. This is the age of what the late Peter Drucker calls the era of the 3 C's: accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, and tremendous competition. So you have to expand your skill set to stay ahead of technology and cheap labor abroad. When I was a kid, you got on an elevator, I was an elevator boy. What floor, please? We operated elevators manually. Then we're going through creative destruction. Somebody created an elevator that didn't require a person being there employed to close the door and take the people to the designated floor. When I was a kid, girls would say, what do you want to do when you become an adult? I want to be an operator, a long-distance operator. Years ago, when you made a long-distance call, you had to call a long-distance operator. Then somebody created technology that you can dial direct. Am I making this up? Anybody remember using that call a long-distance operator? It's called creative destruction. Somebody created technology that we don't have to do that anymore. So today, what multi-level marketing does allow you to secure your future, to stay ahead of technology and cheap labor abroad. You can hire a PhD or an MBA in the Philippines or India for $2.60 an hour. So what you're doing is you're staying ahead of the game because we're going through continuously creative destruction. Think about Mr. Washington. Young man, yes, sir. What do you want to do with your life? I want to buy my mother a home, sir. I want to take care of my mother. Do? Yes, sir. I want to make my mother proud. How can you say you want to make your mother proud and you were in the dean's office the other day for fighting? Sir, they called me DT, the dumb twin. So you're going to fight them? Yes, sir. Why, Brown? Why? Anger is the wind that blows out the lamp of the mind. How do I get even, sir? Tell me. They pick on me all the time because it takes me longer to learn things than others. I'm not like my sister at the University of Miami. I'm not like my brother. They always compare me to him. Mr. Brown, you want to get even? Yes, sir. I said, you have a good memory, young man. Yes, sir, I do. I do, sir. Remember these words by Frank Sinatra. The best revenge is massive success.
Judas didn't have to spill his blood. He could have been cleansed by the blood, but he didn't do it because, see, it wasn't Judas that was bad. It was Satan that had entered Judas. For the Bible says Satan having entered into Judas, which means that Judas wasn't always filled with Satan, and Jesus knew when Satan had entered into Judas. And the Bible says so. The problem with us is we can't tell when Satan has entered. We can't tell when our friends turn jealous. We can't tell when our wives fall out of love. We can't tell when our husbands stop caring. I'm talking about shame. I'm talking about a guy who couldn't get rid of his shame, so he got rid of his life. I'm talking to somebody out there who has a hard time living with a dark secret in your life. And I am telling you that Judas didn't have to hang himself, and you don't have to blow your brains out. I am telling you that Jesus died for your kind of shame, for what you did to yourself, for what you did to your family, for what you did to your body, for what you did to your future. You do not have to go to the potter's field and hang yourself or blow your brains out or OD. That you could come to Jesus because he still. The blood of Jesus is stronger than the blood of Judas. The blood of Jesus is stronger than the blood of Judas. God still wants you. He still cares about you. And finally, as I come to my text, Peter, the complicated betrayal of Peter. Peter's name means the rock, but the rock is now warming himself by the fire of his enemies. Isn't it funny when your name gets bigger than you? When you got a great name as a great woman of God and a great person and a great professional and a great this and a great that and a great the other, and you got a great name, but you got a messy past. Peter couldn't live up to his name. He wasn't, Jesus called him the rock, but he wasn't acting like a rock. He was scared. In the text, I love the text because I love the word. I love the word. I love the word. See, I don't have to have the crowd. I have to have text. If I have the text, I don't have to have the crowd. I love the text because it shows that we get to see men like Peter in fluctuations that could possibly affect our admiration of them. And yet we begin to understand how life really works.
Hi, welcome back to Mind Control.
Do you have the courage to think? Because if you can think, you can change. You can move. You can evolve. You can grow. You can become. You are one idea away. Your credit is not a problem. Your car is not a problem. Your situation is not a problem. Your thoughts are the problem. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Everything starts in the thoughts you think. You are no better than the thoughts you think. If you think little, you go little. If you think weak, you go weak. If you think up, you go up. One thought. Slap yourself in the head. One thought. That's how close you are.
There's a simple but often overlooked premise in business, and that is new growth comes from new thinking. New growth comes from new thinking. Expecting new growth for your business without new ways of thinking about it is like a farmer expecting new crops to grow without first planting the seeds.
So now is the season for you to move distractions, confusion, turmoil out of the way to find a peaceful place where you can meditate and think, what am I going to do at this season in my life? What am I going to do with this age and stage? What can I do with the circumstances in my life? What would you do with what you have to make it better? One thought.
It's the time if you want to be on top of your game. Now listen, this is not for everybody. The masses will use their time being a spectator. We've been conditioned and programmed to be spectators, to watch people live their dream. You want to use your time living the kind of life that people watch you. You want to use your time perfecting your skill and your passion to stand out as an expert. Use your time to operate from that consciousness of Henry David Thoreau, who said, do not go where the path may lead, go where there is no path and leave a trail. If you just decide, I'm going to find something that I would enjoy doing, and then I'm going to carve out the time and have a schedule that I'm working on it every day, listen to me, nobody can touch you. There's no competition. There's no excuse today for not becoming successful. Even if you just lost your job, even if you're going through foreclosure and eviction, you can come back. You have no competition because the majority of the people throw their time away and they have nothing to show for it.
When you think about growing, whenever you're faced with a situation that you can't control and you make the decision to grow, it kind of trims the fat, right? The things that are not important, the things that are no longer something that you got to just focus on every single day. I'm talking about foolishness, right? And when you make that decision to grow, it's just like in marriage, just like being a father. You zoom in on that thing on such a level to where it's like, Opposition is what it is. The challenge is what it is. But every single day I'm going to come in and be intentional about growth. And when you change the way you think about growth, right? When you change your perspective, how you see things, the opportunity for growth, man, is limitless. Every single day, you got all of us in the world that are dealing with a similar situation, but people are responding differently. It's like the quote that says, we all got problems, but what makes us different is how we solve them, right? Everybody is faced with different situations, but what makes them different is how they solve them. And so for me, man, the greatest thing that's happened as a result of this pandemic, of this corona, of this COVID, is every single day I wake up and I'm intentional about my growth. I'm intentional about it.
You see, the largest gap between successful and unsuccessful people in life is the thinking gap. I'm not talking about being smart. I'm not talking about an IQ. I'm talking about how you think, how I think. Successful people think differently than unsuccessful people. The most important real estate, the most important real estate in life is 6 inches between the ears. How we think. Becoming a better thinker is worth your effort because the way you think really impacts every aspect of your life. It doesn't matter whether you are a business person, teacher, parent, scientist, pastor, or corporate executive. Good thinking will make you a better business person, teacher, parent, scientist, pastor, or corporate executive. Good thinking creates the foundation for good results. If you don't like the crop you're reaping, you need to change the seed you are sowing. When it comes to achievement, the seed is your thinking. Good thinking increases your potential. If your thinking shapes who you are, then it naturally follows that your potential is determined by your thinking. Achieving your potential comes from making progress, and progress is often just a good idea away. For many people, the greatest detriment to their success tomorrow is their thinking today. If their thinking is limited, so is their potential. But if people can keep growing in their thinking, they will constantly outgrow what they're doing. Good thinking produces more good thinking if you make it a habit. Albert Einstein observed, the solutions to the problems we face today cannot be solved on the same level of thinking we were at when we created them. Look around you, and you'll see that it is true. The world keeps getting more and more complicated. The good news is that no matter how complicated life gets or how difficult problems may seem, good thinking can make a difference if you make it a consistent part of your life.
It's easy to go around thinking that the obstacle is too big, we'll never get well, this virus is going to get the best of us. We wonder why we don't have any strength, why we can't get ahead. It's because our thoughts are limiting us. We draw in what we constantly think about. You can't think defeat and have victory. You can't think weakness and have strength. Your life is going to follow your thoughts. Instead of thinking these weak, defeated, not able to thoughts, you need to think power thoughts. This sickness is no match for me. This virus can't stop my destiny. This trouble at work is not how my story ends. Victory starts in our mind. Success, breakthroughs, new levels depends on our thinking. Be careful what you think because your thoughts run your life. Are your thoughts helping you or hurting you? Are you thinking power thoughts, victory thoughts, well-able thoughts? Or are you thinking defeated thoughts? I'll never get well, never accomplish my dreams, never break this addiction. You're choosing which direction your life is going to go. Pay attention to what you're dwelling on. Don't just think any thought that comes to mind. If it's negative, discouraging, fearful.
That's why we're here. To work. To leave our mark. And so do an evaluation of yourself. Ask yourself, if you look at 24 hours, how much time do you spend developing your mind? How much time do you spend learning a new skill? The economy has changed. 47 million jobs will be lost to artificial intelligence. Majority of money being made on the planet is being made virtually at home on a computer. The game has changed. And I'm encouraging you, get around people who are using their time productively, because people rub off on you. When you know your purpose, that narrows how you use your time. How are you using your time? You have something special. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine.
I got two major subjects to cover here to finish up with. Here's the first one. It's negative. Here's the second one. It's positive. Two subjects to finish up with. The first one's negative and the second one is positive. A good way to wrap up a seminar like this today. Some negative and some positive. Let me first now give you some tips on negative that really helped me. So valuable for me. I think you'll appreciate these. Here's number one. Negative is normal. Boy, that was helpful for me. No, it wasn't weird to be negative. Negative is normal. Normal meaning it's a part of the human experience. And it's a part of all of our experience. All of us have this same experience, the negative side of life. So negative is normal. Now, negative is not successful, right? But it is normal, meaning it's a part of the life experience. Here's number two. Negative is not to be ignored. Negative is very real. As soon as you've planted the garden, the busy bugs and the noxious weeds are out to take it all. We have two things going for us in our human experience. Here's one, opportunity, and here's number two, the threat to the opportunity. So we deal with both of these twin scenarios in life, opportunity and the threat. Now, the threat to opportunity we call the negative side of life. Number one, it's normal, meaning it's a part of the life experience. Number two, it's not to be ignored. I know some people teach different, but listen to them and listen to me and make up your own mind. I know some people teach, just turn your head real quick and say, there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds. Hey, they'll take your garden. So you can't play silly mind games. You say, well, then how can you have a good garden? Well, you got to kill weeds. So here's number three. Negative is to be mastered or conquered. That's part of the life experience. Now, this twin scenario of the life experience is unique. Negative, positive. In fact, we could probably get into quite a philosophical discussion if we wanted to. Would there be positive without negative? Here's the best I've been able to come up with. It doesn't seem like it. That's about the best I can come up with. Here's what it seems like. It seems like, based on our, our finite awareness now, since we're not infinite, we're finite, meaning creatures of the world, for the moment at least, that's about the best we can come up with. It seems like it takes both to make a unique human experience, both negative and positive. In fact, one suggests the other. Would there be life without death? It doesn't seem like it. What makes life valuable? Death? Somebody asked me once if I had a good description of life, and I said, yes, I think I do. Life is the struggle to keep death at a respectable distance. Death seems to want to move in prematurely, and get us. So to have a good, long, flourishing life, what do you have to do? Push back, push back, push back, push back. Now, if you don't push it back, it pushes you back. There's a push-shove going on here, and it's this negative-positive stuff. Would there be light without darkness? It doesn't seem like it. One suggests the other. Would there be success without failure? Well, I don't think so. You wouldn't call it success. You'd have to call it something else. It's the twin scenario that makes life interesting, fascinating, wondrous in its possibility, but also dangerous in part of the content. So this is the best I've been able to come up with. Negative is normal. It's not to be ignored, but it is to be conquered and mastered. But it is part of the experience. Don't deny yourself the opportunity to drink from both cups, negative, positive. That's the life experience. And hey, you wouldn't have it any other way. What if you went to listen to a symphony orchestra one evening and the symphony orchestra only played little happy high notes all evening? Just little happy high notes all evening, little happy high notes. How much of that could you take? A whole evening of little happy high notes? No, that doesn't represent life. Don't you want to hear the crash of the cymbals? The music that'll scare you to death? Describing the tragedy as well as the triumph? And the answer is yes, that's part of the life experience. Somebody says, well, I've been taught to be all positive. Well, you'll be some kind of freako then. What if the minister only prayed happy prayers every Sunday? How much of that could you take? happy, happy every Sunday, happy, happy every Sunday, happy. No. No. Who's going to pray angry prayers? Who's going to pray frustrated prayers? Who's going to weep in public for the lost children? Come on. Negative and positive. In fact, in one sweep of one sentence, ancient script says it best. There's a time to laugh. Of course. And once you've learned to laugh, just keep on laughing. No. There's a time what? To cry. And you've got to be so sophisticated and well-educated that you don't laugh when it's time to cry. Another writer said, rejoice with those that rejoice. But that's not the end of it. It also says what? Weep. Weep with those that weep. You don't laugh when somebody's weeping. You what? See if you can't find and think of something to cry about when somebody's crying. You gotta drink from both cups. Negative is part of the life experience. In fact, I teach kids that you gotta think negative when it's positive.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.